What's up, everyone? I'm back with another episode of Growing Pains with Lakeland Business Owners. I'm so excited to be here. It's episode 25
No,
with Amy
milestone.
Wiggins. It's a milestone episode, guys. Amy is the new president of the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
She's back.
I'm back.
She's back in a new role, a leadership role, and I'm so excited for you and the
Thank
chamber, the
you.
future of it, and just your leadership and where it's going to go. So,
Thanks.
for people that don't know you, don't know your story, why don't you explain a little bit about yourself, Amy, where you were before the chamber,
Sure.
and just where you're from?
I'm not going to go all the way back because
You don't have
nobody
to go all the
needs
way back.
nobody needs to
It's okay.
hear
Yeah.
that. I am a native Floridian, which is a strange thing, I think, sometimes. But I was born and raised in Plant City. I came to school in Lakeland at Florida Southern and fell in love with Lakeland even more than I already was. This was the place to be. There was a movie theater in Lakeland and not in Plant City. So even growing up, this was kind of where we spent our time, and it's just been such a special place. So after school, I went to work for a church in downtown Tampa, which is a hard job. When you're a seasoned professional, but right out of school, it was extra
Especially going from
difficult.
Plant City to downtown Tampa.
was quite a commute.
Yeah.
Was not my favorite drive ever. But I came back. I had always worked for the Y, coaching swim lessons or gymnastics, and so I came back and helped the YMCA here open their new building in the back with the Teen Development Center, and learned all about YMCA teen programs and youth and government. And from there, I went to the chamber and I spent a decade at the Lakeland Chamber in membership and communications before I left to become the executive director of what was then the Imperial Symphony Orchestra,
Mhm.
now is the Lakeland Symphony Orchestra. So for the past 7 years, that's where I've been. We have gone from a volunteer community orchestra to a professional orchestra and also gone through the rebrand. So I've been busy,
Mhm.
but all for amazing things. And now back at the chamber, I've kind of told people the same thing that I did at the symphony. I believe that Lakeland deserves the very best, and in whatever capacity I can serve to get us there, that's what I'm going to do. I think Lakeland absolutely deserves a vibrant arts and cultural scene. It deserves a successful business ecosystem, and so however I can support the very best for Lakeland, that's what I'm going to do.
No, I love that. So give us a little bit timeline. So you were with the chamber before you joined the symphony. What year or what?
So that was 2005 to 2015.
Okay.
I was with the chamber originally, so 15 to 22.
You were with the symphony. Awesome, awesome. So, it's been quite a journey since you've been back with the chamber, right?
Yeah, it has. I started March 9, so not too long
Yeah,
ago. But I was fortunate enough to be involved a little bit as I was kind of making the transition. So it wasn't just, they didn't just drop me in the
of
building,
course, right,
fortunately.
right.
But yeah, there's 7 years is a long time
Mhm,
to catch up
mhm.
on what's been happening in the community. I was always engaged and always connected, but I had a different lens
Sure.
through the arts and through the symphony, and so it's just a little I get to kind of redirect my
Right.
focus.
Well, I mean, you have a background now with government and now with
Mhm.
arts and creative
Mhm.
world also. So I think that's a good blend to now bring that to the business world again.
Right.
And now, we're talking off air, just your passion to really make sure that the business community here gets the resources that they need. They have, the people to network with and the
Right.
opportunities to prosper. So, one thing that, is in the works, no pun
No
intended.
pun?
I actually did not plan to say that. But it is the works with the
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce. So,
Yes.
I know there's a lot of stories out there and people have written articles, and there's a little misconception, confusion a little bit about what it exactly is. So why don't you explain it, set the record straight, and why people should be excited
Why
about
why
this?
it
Yeah.
matters? Yeah, totally. I get it. And I think part of the challenge, just transparently, is that we distracted people with the building. right? We said, "Here's this great building that we're gonna do all this stuff in,"
which looks great.
and people got excited
Yeah.
about the building,
Mhm.
because that's what we do. But all of this came about, as a model from the National Entrepreneur Center, and what that is just a kind of a resource hub for businesses, from training for entrepreneurs to management training for senior leadership, to get our larger mid and large size businesses to a place where they're elevating their own employees into management positions. So it's not a co-working space.
Mhm.
It is about workforce development. It's about equipping entrepreneurs with all of the resources in one spot so that they can come to us and say, I need to learn QuickBooks and I want to be better bankable so that I can get
Hmm.
a contract with the government, with Polk County. How can I do that? Well, that would have normally been in two different places,
Sure.
but through the partnerships with the works, they can come to one spot, meet with all of the agencies that they need
Hmm.
to, because we can all work in our lanes and support businesses across the community, and everybody wins at
Mhm.
that point. We don't have to exist in silos. We can all work together to get the services to the right businesses. It's all about the right opportunity, timing, ethos. Everybody needs to be able to connect on some level, and if people don't connect, then they're not going to seek out that help,
Mhm.
and they deserve that help.
Yep, absolutely. So if I'm a business owner,
Yes.
which I am here in Lakeland,
Mhm.
why would I go to the works when I walk into the building? What should I expect? Like, would I be able to go to any sort of area, or would it be like representatives of businesses, banks, like talk a little bit about what I can
Sure.
expect,
Yeah,
just so I can
so
visualize that.
definitely. So a lot of what the works will have in the building is already happening, and we're already laying the groundwork. It's important for me to use the example of Catapult.
Mhm.
Catapult has been a dream for the Lakeland community for at least a decade
Absolutely.
before there was this beautiful
Mhm.
building. They were still doing things and making an impact on the business community. So, absolutely, coming into the works, we'll still have an office space for the chamber and the visitor information center, but also you'll have resource partners that are providing training that may be skills training. It may be technical and skills training. It might be just computer training. So maybe there's an opportunity for you to send your employees who need help learning how to log
Gotcha.
into their children's report cards,
Mhm.
right? Simple things like that we kind of sometimes
Mhm.
take for granted. But as a business to come into, you can find everything from those funding resource partners to just
Technology.
advice on what the next
Right.
step is for your business.
That's awesome. So it'll be a combination of like live stuff you can, or I mean, it'll be live events, but
Mhm.
also like one on one that you can get
Totally.
absolute help from any
Totally.
area.
There are so many resources and organizations out there that provide free or low cost help
Mhm.
and support to small businesses that we don't even know about all of
Mhm.
them, right? That's that
Yeah.
even a decade ago, that was the challenge that we had as the chamber starting our partnership with the Small Business Development Center. Folks didn't necessarily recognize that that was available to
Mhm.
them, that there were manufacturing experts that could help them figure out what the next step was for their
Right.
business, or what does HR look like in
Mhm.
a 5-person company versus a 1-person company.
Yep. Yep. And I'm excited for you because that seems to be a passion to really get that communicated out to the community so people know that these resources exist
Well,
and
we
they're
know
available.
that by the year 2030, Polk County is going to need like 90,000 more jobs.
Oh yeah, there's what
Right?
we're the seventh largest
90,000
county
more employees
in
that
Rowan
we're gonna
County.
have to find, and so, wouldn't it be great if we had the resources here in Polk County to train our people
Yep.
to fill those roles? And that's for me, that's what it's all about. This
Mhm.
is about workforce development, about talent pipeline. How do we train our people
Yep.
to work in our businesses?
Mhm. That's great. So the works, guys, is something that's coming. Look it up. You're gonna wanna be a part of this and at least send your employees, your team, or yourself there to learn and grow from it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm excited for
I
that.
in the meantime, before there's a building, know that those partnerships and resources are all being developed, are all being coordinated, so
Right.
that those resources that might not have been in Lakeland before, that may have been only available in the Tampa market, or you would have to drive to Tampa to get it within the next 6 months, you'll be able to get those right here in Lakeland.
That's amazing. So, what are some other things that are on the radar for the chamber? Because I know, you have a entrepreneurial mind, even though, you're in this chamber government role. You come from doing a rebrand with the symphony. So talk a little bit about other things that may be upcoming for the chamber. What should we be excited about if I'm just a patron in the community?
So, just a regular guy in
Yeah,
the
just a,
community. The thing that I love about the chamber is the history that it has in connecting business to community and vice versa. One of the things that I think is most exciting about what we do is the Leadership Lakeland program. So we are gearing up for class 39,
mm,
which is really exciting. When I mentioned something about that the other day, I had one of our past chairs, who I think was chair in 1975,
wow,
say to me, "Oh, I was in on the beginning of
that's
that, and that's
amazing.
such a great
39 years
program."
running
Yeah,
consecutive.
it's
Awesome.
such an amazing program that just teaches people basically how to be Lakelanders, right? We walk them through City Government Day and Education Day and connect them to all of those things that we know happen,
Wow, that's amazing. I
but
didn't even
don't
know that
necessarily.
that existed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
It's a phenomenal program.
just full transparency. That's amazing.
It really is. It's a 10-month program, and so it's one day every month you get to learn about Arts, Culture, and
That's
Communication
so
Day
interesting.
is coming up in May to close out the year for 38. But it it's a cohort, so
Mhm.
it's building relationships within that cohort, but also educating that cohort on exactly what happens in the city. How do you use
That's
the jaws of
amazing.
life? We all don't ever want to have to do that, but how neat is it to be able to experience the fire department from the inside, or
Right,
the
I
police
mean,
department?
I like you, I'm not born and raised from Lakeland. I'm from Auburndale, right?
Okay,
So, like,
right.
I now live in Lakeland, but I
Yes,
don't know, like, the history to that extent, and that's
right.
something really cool, like, even for our employees, like,
Mhm.
sending your employees, like, to something like that so they learn and could be leaders here in the community, I think it is important for people to know about.
Well, and tangent, shout out to Catapult and their summer leadership program, because that summer leadership program is kind of a condensed version of that Leadership Lakeland program, just over the course of a shorter amount of time, specifically aimed at interns and new
Wow.
hires. That's another great program. So if folks are interested in that, they
Mhm.
should definitely reach out
Mhm.
to Catapult, because it's a great way to teach people about Lakeland, and ultimately we hope keep them here,
Right.
right? So they
That's
can
amazing.
continue to be part of that talent pipeline.
That's so cool. Now, is there a charge for that? Is that
So there is a fee for that. It's only a class of 30, so it's a
it's
small
exclusive,
group. It's
private, intimate? That's cool,
absolutely. And
though.
so every year, so we're closing out the application process right now. In March, the nominations open, and in April the applications are completed. So for the next year, for
Man,
everything to
I
start.
feel so silly. I need to sign up for this. I don't know why I'm just now learning about this, but
It's
you learn something
okay.
new every
Well,
day,
and I
so
and I will say too that please know, to anyone that's paying attention, if you are familiar with the Leadership Lakeland program, you know sometimes it takes 3 and 4 and 5 applications to get in,
mm,
because the classes are really kind of intentionally selected so that there's a diversity of industry and a diversity of
that's great. No. Right.
it's a really intentional program. So that's one of the things that I love about it, because it does take kind of people from divergent life and
Mhm.
corporate experiences and mashes them together into
Right.
this year long
Hmm.
cohort. It's a really neat program.
That's
So
very neat. Thank you
yeah,
for explaining that.
you're welcome. Thanks for
Yeah, yeah,
asking.
I'm gonna sign up for that, or at least apply
Okay.
for it. Hopefully, I get in, but
Definitely. Well, always I will say apply and apply and apply,
yes,
because I do know even some of our some chamber board members have told me, "Do you realize it took me, 5 times, 5
that's amazing.
applications to get in?"
That's
Because
cool,
they
though, because they
are.
want diverse
Right.
minds and perspectives,
Right.
that's truly, I think that's the real benefit of Lakeland is just, like, I feel like there's a lot of open-minded people. They want to work together. They want
Mhm.
to, build this as one, and I think
Mhm.
you're gonna be a huge catalyst of that.
Well,
So,
thank you. Thank you. And so I'll use that to segue into something new for the chamber this year, which is our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee.
mm,
The board, our board chair, Stacy Haycock Weeks, said that's a priority for us. And really it transparently should have
mhm.
been for a
Yeah,
while. I
mhm,
mean,
for
right?
sure.
And so I'm excited about that. Sylvia Blackman Roberts is leading that for us. She's engaging a lot of really, really smart people. Thank goodness. I don't
Yes.
have to be the smartest one in the room. I never want to be the
Mhm.
smartest one in the room to help us find the best ways to connect those business resources to small and minority businesses so that we're fulfilling that. And one of the ways that we think we can help is really by assisting the procurement departments in their supplier diversity initiatives. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this
Mhm.
committee work. It's only just getting started, and
Right.
already I think we could come up with 35 different
Right.
projects. But
Yeah.
that's going to be an incredible resource for us for this community moving
That's awesome.
forward.
I
So
mean, you get to be intentional with that, so
yeah,
that's really awesome.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's segue back to
Okay,
a little personal note, like as
sure.
far as your transition from going from the chamber to the symphony and back to the chamber. For people that are like in a role, or they're kind of maybe thinking of moving into a different
Mhm.
role, um, how can people get that motivation and like understand that's their calling? Like I feel like one thing for you was like you feel like you were meant for that.
Yeah.
You were destined for that. How can people kind of get that sense, or like how can people understand when they could jump or move and go back?
Yeah, I will honestly tell you that the first time it it wasn't. This was the first time for me leaving the symphony to come back to the chamber was the first time that I really felt like um, whatever happened was okay. So just like I don't have any secrets, I don't have anything to hide. When I left the church, I was leaving something,
Mhm.
right? When I left the Y, I was leaving myself. I had frustrated myself
Mhm.
there, and I needed to get myself out of that situation. And so I was never really necessarily looking for what I believed my next step was gonna be. I was just looking for something.
Right. Right.
Um, and we all it's okay to be there, right? We were joking this morning. I was joking with somebody sitting next to me talking about that talent pipeline issue and connecting kids to what they think their dream job is going to
Mhm.
be. And we both looked at, well, thank goodness we're not going to have to be those mentors. We're not in our dream jobs, or I don't even know what my dream job is yet. Like, not everybody is going to have that benefit, and I
Sure.
recognize that. But for me, I just kind of got to the point where I was so in love with Lakeland that no matter what I did, I wanted it to be for the benefit of Lakeland. And I think what's great about everybody, right? Everybody has that potential. Everyone has the potential to think that they are scooping ice cream to make Lakeland the best Lakeland that it can be,
Mhm.
because everybody that gets that ice cream is going to end up happier,
Right.
right? Or that they are writing software to make Lakeland the very best Lakeland that it can be, because it's creating this ecosystem of technology that we didn't really know we could have
Mhm.
before. And that's integral to Lakeland's overall success. And for me, I got to the point where I knew that no matter what I did, I was going to be doing that, right? No
Mhm.
matter what, who signed my paycheck or where it got
Your
deposited from,
overarching mission
my
was
absolute
serving Lakeland.
overarching, yeah. So no matter what I did, I was going to find a way to do it so that Lakeland was better.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that. Well, I think it's so neat because again, people that are watching and listening, you know, you have such a unique story because you were in a role with the chamber, you left and you came back to the chamber.
mhm,
Not many people leave a job at any place and come
right.
back to it. So that means a few things. It means that you built strong relationships when you were here originally. It means you left on great terms. It means that they saw your importance when you weren't here, so that's why you're back. So there's a lot of core value or core, like, I guess, just in your being that I wanna kinda get out and, like, what's your
That's really
I mean, it's amazing because not many people, some people are afraid to jump and
Mhm.
find something or test something, and they're scared of that they know that or they think that they can't go back to what
Mhm.
they were doing. Like a teacher, for
Sure.
example, right? Teacher for 10 years. They have a passion for singing, right? Or whatever their hobby is. Maybe they want to go for it for a couple years. You can always go back.
Right.
You can always go back to what you were doing or what you knew, or you know what I'm saying? So like people that are listening for that, like how can people get confident in themselves to make a life change and know that they can come back to that? Like, how did you like? Did you even know that was going to happen? Or
No, I didn't. I really didn't know that this was I genuinely believed that when I took the job at the symphony, I genuinely believed that I would grow the symphony and grow my job with it. That
Mhm,
was my goal. Um and so I didn't expect that I would come back. I'm glad that I'm able to. And I just kind of reached that point where I knew that no matter what, I was in love with the symphony, and I absolutely still am in love with the
mhm,
symphony. And everyone should subscribe and go to concerts and take advantage of them being here.
mhm,
But I feel the same way about the chamber. I believe in this community. And so I think, to answer your question though, just to how do people gain that confidence? I really feel like it's a um more than confidence, it's a self-assurance
mm,
that what you have and offer and bring to the spaces where you choose to invest your time is valuable. Um, so from but you can create that, right? No one else can offer that to you, and I think that's one of the most challenging lessons to learn as a young professional,
mhm,
because we're all seeking that validation from somewhere.
right. Or
And
money, things that
right,
don't matter.
right,
Mhm,
exactly. And so to get to a point where you recognize that that what you have is not a cocky
yeah,
kind of
no,
situation,
absolutely.
but bringing something of value to the table, and knowing that it's valuable.
Mhm,
But that also requires understanding
right.
value.
That's a deep understanding of being self-aware.
Right,
Um,
completely, which is a challenge for a
mhm,
lot of people,
mhm,
because we're not I don't know that we're taught how to do that very well.
mhm. Yeah. I found just through myself, my journey is just through trial and error,
Mhm.
going through failures and learning and figuring it out.
Right. Yeah.
The more life lessons that you have, the more body armor that you get, I feel
Right.
like. So,
Well, exactly. Yeah, you always have to be willing to learn something, and that's a lesson that you have to learn.
mhm,
I remember absolutely going to conferences and thinking, "Oh, I already know this.
mhm,
Why are they telling me this again?" And not recognizing the value that I could find there if I just would stop
mhm.
trying to be so important, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of it, right? You become more important the more you listen
Mm,
and the less you talk about how important you are.
mm, love it.
Um, which is it's a really big lesson
Yeah.
to learn. And we should all still be learning that every day.
Yep. It's what my mom always says, why God gave you 2 ears and
In
1
one
mouth,
mouth.
right?
Yes,
Yeah. So that
absolutely.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so Amy, talk a little bit about your team at the chamber,
Yes,
because you have rock
I
stars.
do.
I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of them. And I'm pretty sure this is the first woman-led Lakeland Chamber. All women, is it?
No, well, we are, yeah, there's a lot of women right now
Yeah.
at the chamber. But when I worked there, Kathleen Munson was actually the first female president and CEO of the chamber, and she was there
Mhm.
for 25 or 30 years. So she did a bang up job. But right now, yes, we are a small but mighty female team
Yeah.
at at the chamber.
That's awesome.
It
That's so
is.
amazing. So,
Yeah.
like through the transition, like what are you most excited for moving forward? Like, what do you want people to know you for when you're done, when you're maybe back at the symphony? No, I'm kidding. Um,
Don't say that too loud. The
just
symphony
kidding.
will be calling you.
I know, I'm sure. But, what do you wanna be known for at the end of the day for being, the president of the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce?
I want to be known for listening. I want to be known for caring, because that's a hard thing to do. And in a community as strong as
Mhm.
Lakeland, there are a lot of opinions. And I think that the best listeners will be the ones to bring us together to find our collective path forward. And I'd love to be seen as one of those people, because I think that's what sets Lakeland apart, is that we do have great listeners who are willing to meet people in the middle. That's why when folks come to Lakeland, they fall in love with it, because we're such a tight knit community. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about the programs and the events. The building is great, and
Mhm.
all of that. But from as Amy, I want people to remember that I listened and cared about what they thought, and used that to move the city forward.
That's great. I love that, and that's what you'd want, the president of the chamber, and, we're gonna have Mayor Mutz on here
Hmm.
soon also, the leadership that we have in Lakeland is second to none, in my opinion,
No
it
lie.
it really is amazing, so, and, there's already a lot of organizations here that are doing great things, right? Not just the chamber, of course, but, Catapult, Emerge, the LEDC, Bridge, there's so many organizations here, and now I think the biggest thing that I'm hopeful for and what you're gonna be doing is bringing these organizations together,
Hmm.
making sure that, we're all playing in the same sandbox, we're all friends,
Definitely.
and we're all trying to get better and improve it, just different ways, different voices, but it's all the same mission, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're all working towards the same end goal. We all want Lakeland to be the very best that it possibly can. And we can stay in our same lanes and drive down the same road,
Hmm,
right? We don't have to I was thinking about that this morning. When a restaurant goes into a mini mall by itself, it's really difficult for that restaurant to succeed unless it's just this super rock star destination restaurant.
yep,
But if a restaurant goes into a mini mall with other restaurants, they all succeed. And everybody's not going to want pizza every day, and everybody's not going to want a sandwich every day. But having those options makes that mini mall more appealing, and more people go there, and more people engage with those businesses. And I feel the same way about everything in Lakeland, all of those organizations that you just mentioned. Everyone has their own ethos and their own lane, but that doesn't mean that we have to exist in silos, because ultimately you're going to find a connection with somebody differently than the next person who's sitting in my seat. And it's okay, right? Because the person that you find connection with is the person that is going to help you succeed.
yep.
Let's just make that happen.
I love that analogy. That's spot on, honestly, it really is, and I mean, the fact is, the matter I'm so excited for the Chamber of Commerce in the future and just your leadership and just the growth of it. I want us to do another episode in like 6
Okay.
months, 12 months from now and
Okay.
really see where we're at from here. And
Let's do it.
yeah, is there anything in closing, Amy, that you wanted to share as far as just upcoming events or things that are going on? Or if people want to know about the chamber, get a hold of you or the chamber itself, like what's the best way?
Yeah. So the chamber, fortunately, is an easy phone number to
Hmm.
remember.
It's on Google.
It's on Google. You can find us, but lakelandchamber.com is our website. There's a lot of information there. I don't recommend sorting through it. Just call somebody, email somebody, and ask them how we can help. My email, super easy,
Hmm.
president@lakelandchamber.com. Be glad to answer. I try to do that within 48 hours because
Right.
my email box is very full
Yeah, I
right
mean,
now. But yeah, please reach out and know that the chamber isn't just events and schmoozy and networking. There's so much more to it, and I'd love to explain that to anybody in person.
yep. That's exactly it. And I mean, you're the person for the position. I'm excited for that to be
Thanks,
communicated
Tyler.
now. And yeah, thank you for stopping by the podcast.
Loved it.
And
Absolutely.
you have a great day.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
chat soon.
All right. Bye.